planting the seeds of fear by bandits. Bandits. I don't think most people in the United States realize exactly what a bandit is and how they work. And in general, a bandit would be a normal person, not a professional. The circumstances kind of gives them the advantage. Down here, well, you'd use an example would be after a hurricane or a storm, something like that. Roads are messed up. The law enforcement and the military can't get around. So now this particular stretch of road they've got control over, and no one's going to come rescue you. If they stop somebody, nobody's going to come help you. And that's basically how they get themselves in that situation. If they have a gun, it'll be an old gun. Don't know if they got bullets in it or not. And there's going to be a group of them, a small group, because they got to split up whatever they get, so they're not going to get much. Now, the roads are out. How you got down this road is really strange already. Nobody else will be coming, so they're not going to have a whole lot of people they're going to be able to take advantage of. So that's why it's just under this particular circumstances, they're going to be able to take control and be able to plant the seed of fear. And the way they're going to do that is they have to stop you some way or another. If you're in a car, they'll put obstacles in the road, something to slow you down or stop you. If you're walking, it'll be the same thing. They narrow it down, like that side of the road, there's something messed up, so you have to come on this side of the road where they're on. Some way or another, they've got to get you to stop, and they got to make the area as small as possible to get you to stop. And all of this is leading in, as you're getting into a smaller, it's necking down into a smaller area, then that seed is being planted in you. You realize you've got problems, and you don't have any options. So that's when they're able to take advantage of you. And more than likely, if they're normal people, they've got families, they go to work and this kind of stuff, then more than likely they're just going to rob you, and that's going to be about it. That's where my bribing for your life comes in, because sometimes you do need to pay, and you need to realize how much to pay and how to talk to them and all this kind of stuff. Now, none of that applies to me because I don't speak the language. So I've got different tactics that I use when I get in circumstances like that. But I say, when a bandit does their thing, you're still in danger. But a lot of the danger is in the mind, your mind only. Now, this is a tough one here. This applies to bandits, gangs, regular street gangs and bandits, and general bad guys. Normally, in those particular situations, you have one that's a real jerk, and that's going to be the one that has got the authority of the bunch. They look for this person as he's their leader. He's the one that's going. And so they're planting the seed to scare you with numbers, whether it's 2 or 3 or 6 or 8, 10, 20. It doesn't make any difference. It's the numbers. But and this doesn't always apply. It depends exactly on the circumstances, but more than likely, 90% of the time and better, it's the strong one, and there might be 1 or 2, no more than 3, that are willing to do something. And if you can plant the seed to them of fear, then the rest of them will calm down. Now, that's done in numerous ways, and but the reason I even mentioned it is the way I'm thinking is violence, and that's what I'm saying. When I'm approached by 3 or more, I'm constantly profiling, trying to figure out which ones are in the lead and which ones have the gumption to think they're going to do something to me. And once I figure these people out, then it's just the point is just to get them close enough where I can plant the seed on them. And then the rest of them are just there as extra bodies, because all the bodies is what is intimidating, is what scares you. But not all the bodies are willing to pay the price. And that's what I do, is I find out which ones are the tough ones, which ones are the ones that think they're going to pay the price, because they're fixing to pay the price. And that's what you need to do, is to plant the seed on them, and then the rest of them will lose interest. And that's what I'm saying. That's on an unorganized group. Now, depending on a militia, it'll be the same thing on the militia. If the militia is well trained, if they and when I say well trained, they don't have to be trained like the military. I'm not talking like that. I'm talking about, no, you don't take the veterinarian of the bunch and put them in a situation where they're going to have to hurt people, because that's not inside of them. And so, the one that does that slaughters the pigs, he'd make a good one. So, in other words, if they put everybody in the position they should be in, then the militia would be able to hold their own. That's why I talk about the meet and greet militia, and the first aid militia, and all, the gardening militia, all these different militias. And that's because they all have a purpose. And if you get the right people in the right spot, you'll have a strong militia. When you start putting people out of their comfort zone, then you've missed the point, and you've got a weak militia. And so the part about going for the strong one doesn't really apply in a militia if the militia is done right. And also when you're doing with the militia, you're talking about the guns. Now, if you've also seen my videos, I talk about the AK. And now I'm talking about the meet and greet militia. When you use a meet and greet militia and they are armed with AKs, the sight of the AK is your seed of fear. The people that operate an AK are not well disciplined. In general, what people think. That's why the military, they would use their ARs, and they're all well disciplined because they clean their weapons so much. They take care of their weapons and stuff like that. They're well disciplined. People that have AKs are they're not that disciplined. And seeing they're not that disciplined, you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know how they're going to interpret certain actions, and you don't even know if they're going to fire that AK up anytime because they're not disciplined. You don't know what they're going to do. You have no idea what kind of training they have. I mean, after all, they have an AK-47. So that plants the seed right there that there could be a problem here. And that's why I say the sight of the AK tells you there's a reason to be scared. Sight of an AR in general shows you discipline and support. So in other words, if the guy's got an AR, look around. There's more of them. There's more people. The guy with the AR is not going to approach you unless he's got a support system. The AR is a unit type weapon. It kind of goes along with the Humvees, the tanks, and armored personnel carriers. I mean, you're not going to have an armored personnel carrier out here running around by himself. They won't survive. They're a support type of equipment. It's like the AR is a support type weapon. You need others. And and in uniform, on a militia, the militia uniform is not snazzy. I mean, sure not the dress blues. And the uniform itself could be something as simple as an armband. Like everybody's got the same blue armband or the same red armband. That would be a sign of a organized group of some type. They all have the same hat. Maybe the same boots. Something is the same on all of them. And then the more stuff that is the same, then the more chance they're more organized. Right back to look at the military. They all dress the same, they all look alike, all same haircuts, everything's the same. All wearing their shades and gloves or whatever it is that they're doing. And when they're all doing the same, that makes them look more organized. And that's the seed of fear. With your militia, it would be they're not. You got some heavyweight, some skinny guys, some old guys, young guys. You got all different kinds of stuff in your militia. So, but I say, that's not a sign of weakness. It's just a sign that you're not as well organized. But that is your advantage. And if you can get organized and you don't look organized, that gives you a big advantage. Another thing, the militia doesn't need the support system. The militia will do its organizing, do its funny kind of training. It's not training like military. It's just a little dorky training. Then they go home and eat, and like the military. And then same thing. They go home, go to bed, in their own bed. Not like the military. So, there's a big difference. And a good militia really knows how to plant the seed of fear. And all of them, no matter military, police, militia, bandits, bad guys, street gangs, nobody wants to get hurt. Now, they may act like it's no big deal, but getting hurt is a big deal. That's why they plant the seed of fear. And it's funny because they'll both be trying to put the fear in each other, and neither one of them wants to make contact. Neither one of them want to be hurt. There's nothing wrong with that. But you do have to think what it is that you can do to plant the seed. But also be aware when you see something saying that they're trying to plant the seed of fear in me. That's cool. At least that's the way I look at it anyway. I see things and I think, is that meant to scare me? And it's cool. I mean, you'll see them, it'll be things like jewelry, the way they walk. I say the military, when they come walking up to you, you can tell the military people walking up to you. You know, a gang, you can tell by their walk. You can tell a lot. I say that's why I do a lot of body language, even with me. I do lots of body language and facial expressions. I do a lot. But then again, remember, I don't speak the language. So, if they're experts or not experts on profiling, you can profile me pretty easy. And I make it like that on purpose. I'm nice and open, I'm really good. But when I start getting scared, you can look at me and you can see that I'm not the same guy. That's the way I plant the seed. They see that and people think, whoa, wait a minute, I think we pushed him a little bit too far. And then, like I say, then it pretty much stops normally. It'll stop one way or the other. It stops. But planting the seed, that's where I do my negotiating for your life. You see, I'm big on giving gifts. I say people call them bribing, but I just like giving gifts. I like giving things away. So you need to think about this stuff. Think about what it is that's happening, that you see, that puts a little doubt in your mind. Now, it's not always, when I plant the seed of fear, I'm not always looking at planting the seed of physical fear. You got to remember, fear comes in all different kinds of ways. If you've seen my video on the magic lights, I said it was like 100 of them, and I had to put the fear in them. Had nothing to do with physical fear. It didn't have nothing to do with financial fear. But it had everything to do with spiritual fear. I mean, I put the fear in them that I don't know what kind of fear it was, but for them, they knew it was bad, and they didn't want any part of it. So, like I say, it doesn't have to be physical. You could do it in financial. Remember, when it comes to military and police, government workers, inspectors, government bureaucrats, you got to remember what motivates these people. They all have one thing in common: money. See, we're going through a government shutdown in the United States. You notice these government workers, they're not there working because they're not getting paid, so they're not going to come to work. They work because they get paid. They work because they get benefits and all this stuff. When they don't have it, they don't work. An army is the same way. The police is the same way. Look at Katrina. In New Orleans. The police that was it. They were gone. No money, no work. Military. I talk about the military. And you think in the United States, well, we're above the military. Get ready. We're going to have foreign military. Now, these foreign military people, they can't even hold down a job. That's why they're in the military. So that's why they're going to be coming over here. Now, some of them are professional soldiers, kind of like ours are professional soldiers. But right back to, if they're a professional soldier, they're professional because they're making money off of it. Okay, I was in Vietnam. I made $92 a month. It was funny because when the United States went to the professional soldiers, I thought it was funny because you're saying that I'm not a professional. It's funny. But it's okay. Because money didn't motivate me. Those are the ones you need to watch out for. But if they're in the military and they're police, they're motivated by money. So if you can plant the fear, their security may be in jeopardy. That's why I think it's funny. You have, I've never done it. I've seen it in the movies where they'll say, well, my uncle is senator, so and so, and stuff like that. So they're doing that to whoever's stopping them for whatever, to make them think, oh, God, man, the senator's nephew, I don't want to mess with him. Why is that? They're scared they're going to lose their job. They're scared that they may not make the money. So what you can do to plant the fear of financial insecurity in these people's lives, that'll go a long ways. You can avoid the violence part. It's funny, even my $92 a month in Vietnam, I don't remember if we got paid once a month or every 2 weeks. Now I'm thinking about it. But it was funny because I do remember the guy would be there with his, I don't know if he had a briefcase or an ammo can or something like that. But that's what he had the money in. And then you'd go out there, you'd show him your dog tag, and you sign your name and you put your serial number on there or your military number. And then he gives you your pay. And I thought, this is really wasting my time. I'm out in the jungle. The money doesn't do me no good at all. The only thing that we use money for is gambling. So, but the thing was, they went out of their way to come pay us. When it was payday, they would fly out, the guy would open up his thing and give us our money. We signed the paper. And I thought, boy, am I missing something? You think the $92 a month is what keeps me here? You think it's that $92 a month that makes me do the stuff that I do? That's why the militia is a force to be reckoned with. They're not motivated by money. The militia is for their home, taking care of their home. What would you do for your home? You think if I paid you $92 a month, that would be worth it? Money has nothing to do with it. The militia gets its power, its strength from being close to home. Now, I do the same thing with me personally. What will you do to protect your home? What will you do to protect yourself? That's what I do. I'd give you my motorcycle or my car or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. I'm not going to let you hurt me. And so you got to get that attitude. And then be observant. You can learn what it is when somebody is trying to plant the seed on you. And that'll give you some ideas on what you can do to plant the seed on them. I say, the seed of fear will help you avoid violence. The seed of fear will give you the advantage when it's time for violence. The seed of fear is real. Governments use it on their population. Whether they're telling you there's some weird bird disease coming around, they try to scare you into taking flu shots, anything. They say, I like this. Well, your Social Security check may be in jeopardy. You're putting me on. You know what I mean? Planting that seed. And I wonder sometimes, has we Americans got so weak that we can be scared so easily? I don't know. But I tell you, in the old days, you have to do more than plant a seed. When I was young, the only seed I'd be planting would be the one up your butt. But I'm smarter now. I try to avoid violence. Keep in mind, we all have tactics available to us. Use these tactics. Use your head. But also, you need to be able to back up the seeds that you plant. You need to be able to water them, fertilize them, nurture them. There's many seeds out there. You can do a lot with it. Thank you. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.